Greetings, everybody. Welcome to Office Hours. Happy Friday. Welcome, welcome. What's up, Lisa? Good to see you. Welcome. First comment. You win first comment today. Welcome, everybody. Happy Friday. I hope you've had a great week. Let me know that you can see me and hear me okay. I would appreciate it, and we will get this show on the road. Let me check some audio settings here real quick. I'm using the Shure microphone, the desktop microphone today, so a little bit different. Reduce my ground stereo audio echo. Let's see here. How do we sound now? Test 1, 2, 3. I just did a little change there in the audio settings. Mr. Robert Brennan, Lisa, welcome. How do we sound now? So since your first feedback on sounds good, I changed an audio setting. I'm curious. Sounds good, says Demand Wizards. Awesome. All right, good. We're using, again, the Shure desktop microphone here today and playing with some of the settings here. Awesome. Lisa Johnson says better. Cool. That is the studio audio setting on StreamYard here. That seems to have made that change. Awesome. Good. Let's see here. I am just going to check one more setting here real quick. And okay. Let me see here. You know what I'm going to do here real quick, gang? Give me 1 second. I'm going to drop out and come right back in. You just stay where you are. Don't need to do a thing. I will be right back. All right, I'm back. All right, thank you, everybody. Just playing around with some settings here. As you guys know, I'm sure I try to make sure I'm repurposing our content as much as we possibly can, and so I was just messing around a little bit here with one of the settings to see if we can improve some of the quality of the recording. So, thank you for your patience. Thank you for letting me experiment a little bit there. Welcome to Office Hours. Happy Friday. I hope you've had a great week, and I hope you have some good stuff planned for the weekend. Maybe a little bit of work, a little bit of fun. Get it all in there. I know I've had a very busy week and caught a little bit of a cold for a couple days. I'm past that now, thank goodness. And have a very busy weekend coming up here as well, which is all good. It's the way I like it. So, Office Hours, as many of you already know, there is no agenda on Office Hours other than to do my best to answer your questions and see if I can help you out. So any questions that you have, please go ahead and chat those into the comments, and I will take them as they come here. Moguls members, you can post comments inside of the Moguls community. And if we are tight on time, I will make sure that your calls get prioritized, or your questions, get prioritized. I also just dropped a StreamYard link into the comments. If you would like to join me on camera here and have a conversation, as Jasmine did last week, thank you, Jasmine, if you're on here, then we can have a little conversation on camera. This is particularly good if you have any question that's longer, need to give me more context to understand, and it's not easy to do in the chat. then just go ahead and jump on camera here and we can have a little conversation, okay? And when you use that link, don't worry, you won't just pop up on camera suddenly. You'll show up in the back office here, if you will, of my StreamYard system, and then I will be able to give you a little warning before I put you on camera in front of everybody, okay? So go ahead and type in any questions that you have, and I will do my very best, all right? Awesome, Jasmine, good, I love it. There she is. Well, you're gonna also, Jasmine, I'm creating an edited version of our conversation there. So you'll see that coming out here soon, because I think there's a lot of good lessons in there for just about everybody. So let's see here. Mike says, how long is it taking to set up SMS for new clients these days? That's a good question, Mike. So I can't give you a real good answer, because I think that there was this big push, right, by September 1st to get everybody, to get all their information in and get them authorized properly. So there was a massive, obviously, flood of requests that went into the system, which of course then, caused some delays. For me, it was, so there's 2 steps to getting that number approved. There is getting your actual like business verified, and then getting your specific campaigns verified. Getting my business verified was very quickly, done very quickly. I mean, it was like a week. And then getting the actual campaigns verified was probably about 2 weeks after that. Again, though, that was like leading up to this, push to get everybody authorized by September 1. So I've got to imagine now that that has happened, they're going to catch up. And I think, Mike, I believe, whether or not this is true right now, I'm not saying it's true right now, I believe that in the next 45 days or something, they're going to have this process be very, very fast, almost automatic again, because they don't want, businesses to have to wait to get numbers and pay for numbers and all that good stuff, right? Everybody's got an economic incentive to get these things approved, as long as you're not a hardcore spammer, right? So I think it's going to be pretty darn quick. And in my experience, like I said, it was about 3 weeks total, but that was right in the middle of the crunch. Okay. Let's see here. Have you heard of Adelo Unlimited Video Hosting? I have not, Ray. Adelo, I have not. That's not anything I'm familiar with. Let's see here. It says create your own mini. Adelo, better, faster video hosting for businesses and creators. I'm just looking at it right now in the background here. I can share it real fast in case anybody's interested in seeing that. I have never heard of this before. And I mean, assuming these are real, I don't know anything about this company, but assuming these are real and they didn't just steal the steal the icons and put them on their site, which people do. Assuming those are real, that's all good signs. I do not know, though. I'm not familiar with the company, so I'd want to do some research definitely before I would give any sort of recommendation on them. I am actually very interested in this myself right now, because Wistia just quadrupled our prices. I think I got a bill. I've been a Wistia customer for, gosh, I mean, probably since the first year of Wistia's existence. So what is that, 10 years, 11 years, something like that. I've been a Wistia customer that entire time, and all of a sudden I just got a 4x bill from Wistia, and I immediately sent them a little bit of a gentle nudge to say, are you guys crazy? Please, credit my account and let me know what's going on over there. Yeah, they have definitely changed their pricing structure. So I am looking for something as well. So if I do find anything that I feel real good about, I will let you know. And certainly I'll look into this one. And also I will look into some other alternatives as well. Yeah, well, Ray, let me know what you find. Like I said, I wish I had a good answer for you already, but I haven't done enough research yet. Jeremy says 1-800 numbers work. Yeah, and I think that that's a fantastic point. Is 1-800 numbers you can get registered quickly. So take advantage of that. And this is going back to the how long to get SMS set up, Mike. So you can get the 1-800 numbers quickly. So take advantage of that for sure. I'm really excited. I know for the folks of you in here who are in the HighLevel community, I'm so excited for the AI chatbot that is coming from HighLevel, and I believe it's going to go live to everybody this week. I've had access to it for the last week or so, playing around with it. And you know, they've been figuring out a couple things, but it's already amazing. I got to tell you. So really fascinating what you're able to do to set up your AI chatbot. And this starts to get to understanding how powerful AI is going to be for all of us, right? To train this chatbot to be able to answer questions about a particular business. So let's say you sign up a law firm as a customer, and you want this chatbot to be able to answer questions effectively about the law firm, right? And about the law firm's services. Well, that could be a relatively complex thing to try and learn and understand that law firm services and make sure you program that into a typical bot response, mechanism where you actually have to create the responses yourself. So with the AI chatbot, you just put in the URL of the customer, of the business that you're working with, and it trains itself by studying their website and any content on their website. Now, you can also then supplement that training by putting in your own information, right? So you can say, hey, I'm worried on the website, there's no information about X. So let me go ahead and type in some information about X to train the bot with. So you can do some manual training, but you can do this automated training, which is so slick, because think about setting up a new customer. All we have to do is put in their URL, and we're going to make a long way on that training. So, I don't know if I was skeptical, but I was certainly curious, like, how would this bot be able to handle some questions that come in onto my chat using, that are about some of my products, that maybe the questions sometimes get a little bit more sophisticated. What's the difference between MSP Academy and high leverage agency, right? So the very first person who interacted with my bot when I turned it on live was actually somebody who had some quite sophisticated questions, because this is somebody who's been a successful entrepreneur for some time now. They have a business, they have a customer base, they're asking about differences in my programs to make sure that they know, hey, is this really going to be a fit for them? These were not, just questions like how much is product X, or how do I contact support, or anything like that. And the bot handled it amazingly well, and then booked me in a call with the person automatically. It was really impressive. And that's, the first week that I have this bot on. So it's going to be such a powerful service offering for us to be able to offer our customers. It's going to be amazing. Matthew, where can we find info on your moguls group? Thank you for asking, giving me the opportunity to give a little plug here. Let me just see if I have a URL inside of here. I don't, so give me 1 second. I'll just go ahead and create a banner here real quick with the URL so that you can see it. But the short answer is, if you just go to servicesthatscale.com/moguls, you will land on the page there for moguls. Gives you all the details about it. Okay, servicesthatscale.com/moguls. Okay, for anybody wondering, moguls is my community where I'm giving you access to essentially all of my products, not 100% of them, but close to it, and also private community and private training calls and boot camps. We've got a boot camp coming up this next week. It is the Attention Engine Boot Camp. It is all about how do you grow the top of your funnel, the top of your pipeline, so that you're creating enough opportunities consistently that the bottom of your funnel is producing the results that you need. Okay, so if you're an agency that's just getting started, the model that I show people is, hey, if you just get 3 to 4 new customers each month and you're just charging $397 on average, you're using the Surge to SaaS model that I teach. So very automated service at $397 a month. You're essentially charging for HighLevel with some marketing assets that you've put in there. And then you do a little surge up front, which the surge is just getting everything set up so that the day the customer gets in there, they're ready to use it and they're ready to make have some impact on their business with your tools and your services. 3 customers a month, 4 customers a month, $397 each. It's not a ton of money. Okay, within the year, you're making 6 figures in monthly recurring revenue, 6 figures annually. Make sure that's clear. You are making more than $10,000 a month in monthly recurring revenue, which is, that's life-changing, right? When you have that automated recurring revenue coming in at that amount, all of a sudden you can breathe, right? All of a sudden you can be freed up to, to make different decisions about your life and about how you're going to run your business and all that good stuff. So, the Attention Engine Bootcamp that we have coming up this next week is all about how you build that top of pipeline so that you are getting that consistent 3 to 4 each month at the bottom of the pipeline. And of course, you can scale it from there if you want to put more energy and effort into it. That is being done as part of the Moguls community. So those boot camps, those training calls, you also get as part of that Moguls community as well. So I try and make it very affordably priced to get access to all of my stuff, to make it as accessible for as many early stage entrepreneurs as I can. So if it's a good fit for you, we would love to see you in there. Okay. Conversation AI will be awesome. What do you think? Yeah, I just think it's going to be a game changer. I really do. And I know that that's a overused phrase, but sometimes there's justification for it, right? We are dealing with artificial intelligence, which is certainly a game changer, and we're applying it in a very simple but effective and powerful way to small businesses, which can be a huge impact on those businesses and ultimately on our economy as enough businesses are taking advantage of it. Demand Wizard says, how do you create, or what advice can you share to create the one-liner to catch someone's attention on the phone? So Demand Wizards, I am assuming you are referring to sending an SMS message to somebody, if that's what you mean, to create the one-liner to catch someone's attention on the phone. Oh wait. Maybe you're referring to making a phone call. Excuse me. I think that's what you're referring to. Cold call. Yeah. Okay. So how do you can you share to create the one-liner to catch someone's attention on the phone? First of all, after making about 1 million cold calls over the course of my life and training dozens of salespeople to make millions of phone calls as well, I will tell you that there is no magic script. If you go through my training on how to do cold prospecting, one of the very first things that's in that training is there is no magic script. So give up your hopes for a magic script. And the sooner you give up your hopes for the magic script, the better off you will be, because there is no magic script. Now, that being said, the most important things, hold on one second here, guys. My daughter's trying to call me. Let me just make sure she's good. I would say actually the most important things to make sure that you can get through to somebody on a call, on a cold call, are the things that you don't do. Okay, so when I say the things that you don't do, what I mean is if you call and you sound like a salesperson making a cold call, you are immediately raising the walls, right? You are immediately telling this person they made a mistake in picking up this phone call. They're going, damn it, I didn't recognize the number. Why did I pick that up, right? So if you sound like a salesperson, then you've screwed up. And so a lot of people, largely because of their nervous energy around making cold calls, because it creates anxiety for them, the way that they call up when they make that cold call is, immediately it's like, hey, Lisa, this is Mike with, super duper marketing and I know I caught you off guard, but I just want to, like that type of thing, right? Their voice gets really fast. Oftentimes they get very high pitched. And so you come across as somebody making a sales call, right? Or you try to be overly slick about it, right? Somebody who's actually looking for the perfect line, and you come across as somebody with the perfect line. It's just like if you were, approaching somebody of the opposite sex at a bar or something like that, and you come up with the perfect, what you think is the perfect smooth line, and they're like, oh God, right? The pickup line that I've heard that everybody says is the most successful pickup line in the history of pickup lines is just hey or hello, right? And the reason why is because it just comes across as very natural and approachable, right? And I think that the same thing is true about making cold calls. And the more that you can sound like you're just somebody who would normally expect to be having a conversation with that person, the better off you're going to be at lowering the guard. When you lower that guard, you get just that tiny little opportunity to then potentially continue the conversation. So as an example, let's say that you call and you get a receptionist, picking up the phone, right? A gatekeeper picking up the phone, right? The best way that I've ever found of getting through gatekeepers on that initial call or on that initial conversation, right, is let's just say that Howard is the gatekeeper and Howard picks up the phone. And I just go, all I say, but I'm trying to reach Lisa, right? And so when Howard picks up the phone and, hey, it's a super duper law firm, and whatever Howard says as his opening thing, and I just go, Lisa Johnson, please, right? And that's it. Just, I sound like I'm somebody who knows Lisa Johnson, and I call Lisa Johnson all the time, and that's it. No, high pitched tone, no nothing. Just Lisa Johnson, please, right? That's it. Now, Howard may push back and then go, hey, who is this? Who's this calling? What is this regarding? And I will just repeat, Lisa Johnson, please, right? And that's it. And a lot of people will not want to push back and demand more information from me. They will, and this is a trick, if you will, of sales, right? Is that if you can control the discomfort between you and the other party, you oftentimes can kind of then control the outcome better, right? So in other words, if I know that the human nature of the person picking up the phone is they don't want to ruffle my feathers too much, right? What if I'm some important big dog calling for Lisa Johnson, right? And they're the receptionist at this law firm, and they're kind of like, oh, gosh, I don't want to piss off some, big dog who's calling in. And so if I just don't respond to their request, and that makes them then a little uncomfortable about pressing me too hard, oftentimes the human nature will take over and they'll just put me through to Lisa Johnson. Okay. So sometimes they will insist, hey, what is this regarding? Who is this? Who is this calling? What is this regarding? And then I will completely flip my tone and my strategy. And then I will try and buddy up Howard, who is the receptionist now, right? I will actually completely flip my strategy, flip my tone, and try and become Howard's friend. And the reason why I take that strategy is because most people are just really rude and don't try and establish any relationships with receptionists and gatekeepers. And they feel kind of like people who are forgotten and treated as not important and all that type of stuff. So now I will actually take the approach of trying to be buddy with them, which is I will say, oh, hey, Howard. Yeah, hey, this is Mike with Super. Hey, how's it going today? Yeah, the weather's kind of crazy, blah, blah, blah. Feels like fall out there, doesn't it? Try and build rapport and actually go that route, right? So what I'm sharing with you here is a couple of things. One is that just that tonality, making sure that you are not coming across as a salesperson is more important, I think, than having the perfect line, because there is no perfect line. And so, just how you come across is incredibly important. Now, here's one of the other things. One of my second rules of training people on cold calling. All of that shit I just told you will make a 1% difference in anything. It's just a numbers game. It's a numbers game. And if you just don't completely screw up in giving your pitch, again, if you don't come across all Mickey Mousey, hi, this is Mike with Super Duper Marketing, and I just would love to talk to you about my services, right? If you just don't completely butcher all that, then you're doing pretty much everything that you need to do, and it's just a numbers game. And then it's just a matter of just continuing to knock on the door, follow up. Okay. So if I were to actually get a hold though, so let's say I can call Lisa's number directly. I have Lisa's direct number. Lisa picks up the phone. I know I've got Lisa. And I would just say, I personally have found that the very best approach on these cold calls is just to get right to the point and tell them that I respect their time and that, yes, this is a cold call. And so I will literally say that to them. Not in all cases. And I would, when I was making hundreds of calls a day, I would test different scripts, 3 days in a row, I would do the exact same script. Next 3 days, I would do a totally different script, or tweak something, right? Split testing. So, but if I got a hold of Lisa, and Lisa picks up the phone, hey, good morning, Lisa. Hey, this is Mike. I know you weren't expecting my call. This is a cold call. I'm sure you're thrilled. I promise you, if I can just have a few minutes of your time, if it's a good fit to talk some more, we can do it. If not, totally get it. And I promise I will not bother you. Is that okay? You got just a minute? And so I will just try to just be completely normal, respectful, and keep it real. Okay. Sometimes I will mix in more of the power statement message in there. Hey, Lisa, I know I caught you off guard here, and I won't take up too much of your time, but I help companies just like yours acquire new patients on an average 20% cheaper. And I was hoping I could just get a couple minutes of your time to see if it might be a good fit to have a further conversation about that. So just getting right to it. That's it. Again, I don't think that there are any tricks. If you wanted to study who I think was the very best at understanding the dynamics of not coming across as a salesperson and using these subtle little cues and tonality and stuff to give you the best chance of getting through those first 15 seconds without raising the walls, it was a gentleman by the name of Ari Galper, Arigalper. I want to say, I don't even know that he is with us anymore, honestly, which would be sad because he was a young guy. For some reason, though, something in my head tells me that he is no longer with us, but I believe, you'd be able to find his training out there still, if he's not. So that would be my recommendation. So I'm sorry when I tell you that there's nothing magic and I can't give you the super answer. I wish I could give you the super answer, but the reality is backed by a whole lot of experience, not just with myself, but with others. There is no magic script. Let me give you one more tip though. Okay. The single best salesperson in my mind over the course of my life that I have interacted with, in terms of him leaving the impression on me, man, this guy has got it figured out, was this old school Boston guy, who, what was he selling? I can't even remember what he was selling. But anyway, he knew I had a fast growth company. I was a perfect fit for him. And the guy never called me without adding value first. Okay. And that stuck in my mind. And that's why my acronym for my sales and marketing approach is VIP. Okay. V stands for value. Add value first. Anytime you can add value, add value. If you add value, you get reciprocation, and people don't hate hearing from you. Right. So most salespeople just call up and they do this totally lame, hey, Lisa, it's Mike calling again to see if you're ready to buy. No? Okay, cool. I'll call you back in 30 days. Hey, Lisa, just calling again to see if you're ready to buy, right? He never called me without having something valuable to share with me. And so his name was Chip, and he would call up, hey, Mike, it's Chip. Hey, how's it going, Chip? Good. Hey, Mike, I was just having a conversation with Bob the other day, Bob from Super Duper Company. Do you know Bob? And I would say, no, I don't know Bob. And he goes, well, man, look, you should know Bob, and you should know what he was telling me in this conversation. So he was telling me that your competitor, blah, 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 just, got this new, deal going over here or whatever. And I was thinking, man, that's a big opportunity for you as well. You should try and pounce on that. Am I wrong? And I would go, no, shit, Chip. Thank you for sharing that with me. That is super good to know. I appreciate it. Yeah. And if you like, I asked Bob if I can make an introduction to you. He said, yeah, no problem. So if you'd like, I'll shoot you over his number real quick and just do a quick introduction. You guys can have a chat. Awesome. Thanks, Chip. Great. Yeah. Well, Mike, it's good catching up. Hey, also, just want to let you know, we just rolled out our new whatever service over here, and getting some really, really good feedback. And I thought it might be a good fit for you guys. Do you have a few minutes to go over it? Yeah, sure, Chip. Thanks. Yeah. Yeah. Tell me what you got. And it worked every damn time, because he always had something valuable to offer me when he called. He was super strategic about that. And I just think that that's like, to me, if there is a ninja hack, that's the ninja hack. Add value. Find a way to add value. And there's so many ways to do that, right? If you're a little bit creative. So one more tip, I guess, is do everything you can to not make it cold. And so what we would do is we would go over the top. We would identify our A prospects, our B prospects, and our C prospects. Okay. An A prospect was somebody that we could look at the characteristics of that business and go, that is a perfect ideal customer. They're the right size. They've been in business for years. They've, whatever, right industries, all of those things. So that looks like the perfect prospect for us. Okay. The other type of A was somebody that we had already had some interaction with that we knew was the perfect prospect. We just hadn't sold them yet, right? So we already had a sales process with them or something like that. Maybe they went with a competitor. Maybe it just wasn't the right time to make a change, but we know, oh man, that's the perfect prospect. Okay. So those two types of prospects, we would spend disproportionately on with our marketing to get their attention. So in other words, before we made our cold call campaigns, we would do an over-the-top direct mail campaign. We would send them coffee cake was our first and most famous move, because there was this awesome coffee cake company in Boston that was very famous. So we would order 200 coffee cakes from them, right? And we would send out all these coffee cakes to our A prospects with a little note on it saying who it was from. And then we would call right after we knew that coffee cake was delivered. And we would say, hey, Lisa, it's Mike with Everon. We're the guys who just sent you that coffee cake. I hope you enjoy it. Hope your office enjoyed it. Oh my gosh, that is so nice. Yes, people were crazy over that thing. Awesome. Well, look, That's just our not so subtle way of trying to get your attention so that we can hopefully just get a very brief conversation with you about our services and introduce ourselves and see if it made sense for us to have a little bit more of a conversation about it. You got a few minutes now while I have you here on the phone, right? And so that was, I mean, if you wanted a way to take your cold call percentage from 5% to 60%, I mean, literally, because you kind of have to be a jerk to get some cool delivery like that and not at least give me 2 seconds on the phone, right? So, I mean, literally, we would get a hold of well over half of people and get a conversation with them from that. Okay. So, I hope there's something in there that helps you. I know that may be a little bit different than what you were hoping for or looking for, but hopefully that gives you some insight as to what I found actually works. Okay. Howard says, will you be creating training on setting up the bot with Go HighLevel Calendar? Yes, absolutely, Howard. And honestly, Howard, it is, and again, this is the future of this stuff. There's really, I don't even know that there's any training necessary, Howard. Honestly, you turn the damn thing on, and that's pretty much it. It already sees your calendars, like your calendars are all listed there, and you can just pick, hey, you can schedule on this calendar or not on this calendar. That's it. And then you can say, I would like you to ask these questions first before you schedule on my calendar to make sure that they're qualified. And that's all there is to it. It's really awesome. It's really smart. So we'll see here, but yes, believe me, Howard, the things that they're doing with AI will be a centerpiece of everything going forward. Doesn't Go HighLevel host videos in the members area? Yeah, it does, Brittany. And so if you're asking like, hey, why would you be using Wistia when you can just host all the videos in the members area? I think is maybe what you're referring to there. Yes. And almost all of my videos now that I'm using for the courses and stuff are all just hosted directly with HighLevel. For years and years and years, though, that was not the case. You'd host it on Wistia, and then you would embed it in whatever platforms you were using. So that way, let's say you wanted to use that one video in 6 different places, and you wanted to get consolidated analytics about that video, you could. And also, if you wanted to make an update to that video and have it automatically reflected in all of those places where the video exists, it makes a whole ton of sense to be with a hosting provider like Wistia. I mean, it was always a fantastic value proposition, but at 4 times the price, it's definitely questionable. And the thing is, here's what's interesting for me, at least, is they're charging me just for storage, right? I mean, that's really all it is, because I have thousands of videos from over the years up there, but there's like 100 that get traffic every month, right? I mean, really, like maybe 150 or something. But I literally have like 3,000, okay? So the big charge is coming from them. They're just charging me an outrageous amount just to have those videos in the system, even though they're not getting any traffic or anything. I'm like, well, I can just put them up on Google Drive. All the videos that aren't getting traffic, I'll just put them up on Google Drive, and it won't cost me anything. It costs me the $10 a month or whatever I'm paying to Google Drive, and I'll still have plenty of leftover storage. So that's what I'm going to end up doing, is just moving the ones that are not, getting traffic over there. Lisa says, I recently have a VA prospecting restaurant niche, goal of 30 per day. We're checking their business through Google, providing problem solution to them, and or should we send many emails to general restaurant audience? Your thought, what is most effective for VA prospecting? Okay, great question. So Lisa, restaurants and restaurant managers and stuff are notoriously difficult to get on the phone, and because their business involves so much just running around their restaurant, direct customer interaction, direct employee interaction, all that stuff, that they have very, very, very little time in the day to just sit down and pause and have a conversation about their business, right? So it can be very difficult to get a hold of them in real time. So I would absolutely highly recommend that any prospecting you're doing of them include a asynchronous way of communicating with them, right? So something that you can send to them, they can save it, they can review it, they can then get back to you when they want to, that type of thing. Not to say that you shouldn't, still offer the opportunity to get on calls with you, all that type of stuff. Absolutely. But give them more ability to control the dynamics of when that happens. I think is really important. So yes, I would send emails. Not to say that I would entirely give up on calls. You can give that a shot. And then the other thing I would just say, in general, if you are using VAs to do prospecting for you, or actually even if you're hiring junior salespeople, like here in the United States, a full-time junior salesperson that doesn't have a lot of training and experience in sales, you've just got to keep it stupid simple. Okay. So the best VA prospecting approaches are things like just getting permission to then get in contact with them again, or just verifying some information, or just getting an appointment booked on a calendar for a more senior salesperson to have a conversation. So just like very, very basic stuff like that. Because anything more complex than that, it really requires a salesperson with more training, more sophistication, and it gets significantly more expensive, of course, at that point. So when I've used VAs for prospecting in the past, I always just look at, okay, how can I dumb this down completely and just expect them to try and get the next step in the sales process to happen. Okay. So as an example, I've used VAs to call to register for people for webinars. So, hey, Lisa, this is, Mike with Super Duper Agency. Our CEO is having a training coming up this next week on X, Y, and Z, and he wanted me to make sure and extend an invitation to you. It's Tuesday at 1 p.m. I can go ahead and save your seat and get you registered now if you'd like to attend, right? And so just doing that and booking them on the webinar, right? And then while they're there, they're asking some more information just to try and fill out our CRM as much as possible. So great. While I have you here, let me just make sure I get you registered, name, email, phone number, blah, blah, blah. Also, if you wouldn't mind, how many years have you guys been in business and how many employees do you have and blah, and just trying to get as much of that information for our database. And then we've done that same thing for live in-person events. So we're having a lunch and learn. Our CEO is having a lunch and learn coming up 2 weeks from now. I wanted to give you an invitation and check and see if you were able to come, hold your seat, book your meal, things like that. So we would have them make those calls. And then also just calls again, where it's just like booking the next step in the sales process. So, hi, Lisa, Super Duper, calling on behalf of Super Duper Marketing. And my CEO had asked me to reach out to you because he was hoping to have a quick conversation about our new service that he thought would be a good fit for your business. When is a good time that we could just schedule 15 minutes on the calendar for you two to connect and just have that person just try and make that next step happen? Okay. And then again, in almost all cases, so let's say that person says, yeah, sure, let's get on the calendar. Great. So we book the time on the calendar and then ask some qualifying questions to make sure it's actually worthwhile to be booking that time on the calendar with them, So that approach, works as well. So if you're checking their business through Google, providing problem solution to them, that's pretty darn tough for a VA to do. It's like, I would rather see you have them just like set up the next conversation with you and let you do that. So it could be as simple though as, hey, we just did an analysis of your business listings, blah, 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 citations, reviews, things like that on the web. And we found out that you have, these 3 scores. You've got a terrible reputation score, your citations are only 20% complete, and blah, blah, blah. I'd love to, connect you with 15 minutes with our CEO to walk through the report in detail and share with you the impact that that's having, and also discuss some strategies as to how we can help you resolve that. So just like, presenting to them, like, here's the findings of this report or whatever, but just at a surface level. and then connect with the person who can actually walk through the details, that type of thing. Okay. Yeah. Kick in the door. I love it. Yeah. Kick in the door. Kind of over the top offer as a cold call is absolutely an option as well. Like just coming out aggressive with just a no-brainer offer, right? So this would be, like a Groupon sales pitch, right? Or a Groupon sales pitch when they were growing like crazy was just, hey, look, we're going to promote your business, no cost to you unless we make sales, right? All you got to do is give us a little bit of information about your business, when you'd like the offer to run, and, sign this agreement saying that we get to keep 70%, that type of thing. But Ari says, Christy says, Ari's still active on LinkedIn. Cool. Definitely go check him out. Nutrivibe says, awesome, cool. Thank you. Awesome. Oh, good. Good. Well, cold calling is the one thing I need to do daily and improve at. Well, that's awesome. That's an awesome commitment and awareness from you, because cold calling is tough. It's tough, and it takes that commitment for most people to get to the point where they're really comfortable with it. What I would recommend to you is that you get one of the amazing cold calling tools. It will make all the difference in the world in your success at doing it. So I would recommend, highly recommend, phoneburner.com. So PhoneBurner is a software that I used way back in the day when I was doing cold calling like crazy and setting up my teams to do cold calling like crazy. And they apparently have only kept on going and growing, which doesn't surprise me because it's a very, very good solution. It was a very good solution 10 years ago. So I imagine it's an incredible solution now. What PhoneBurner does is it's not just phone calls, although it's clearly centered around phone calls, but it's also voicemails, it's emails, it's getting information captured and logged about the prospect. It is, as you can see here, workflow automation. So some basic, well, not basic, I shouldn't even say that. Pretty darn sophisticated and useful workflows around doing your cold prospecting. It is 110% focused on doing outbound cold prospecting. If I were doing outbound cold prospecting today, there is zero chance that I would do it without this software. Or, there's a couple of competitors out there that I'm sure are just as good. There is a 0% chance that I would set up to do cold prospecting without it. And here's why. It will absolutely triple or quadruple your productivity and output in doing cold prospecting. And here's how it works. Let's say you've got 100 people to call today, okay? You put on your headset, you turn on that software, it will go through all 100 of them like that, right? Versus if it's me doing this and making cold calls, what is it? I make a cold call, I look at, let me pull them up online and see if I can, I can find some things about them. And I just got a Facebook Messenger message. Oh, who's that from? Oh, Jimmy's going to, the Padres this weekend. Oh, maybe I should do that. Yeah, okay. Good. All right, let me call these guys. Let me make sure I got the right number. I gotta go to the bathroom. Hold on, I'll be right back. Right? That's cold prospecting for most people, right? And so maybe you'll get through 10 calls. Whereas if you have PhoneBurner, you will get through 100 calls in that same time. You put on your headset, you hit go, and the system goes. And so here's how it works. And it's awesome. It's badass. If it dials that first number and that person doesn't pick up, it immediately moves that into the background and starts dialing the second number. And if that person doesn't pick up, it moves it in the background and dials the third number. So you're literally just sitting there and it's just cranking through. Now, what is it doing in the background with those numbers that it called that didn't pick up? It will automatically leave a voicemail that you've pre-recorded. It will automatically fire off an email to them saying, hey, Lisa, this is Mike. I just tried to reach you on the phone. You weren't available. Give me a call when you get a second at, so whatever emails that you put up, my Chase formula style emails, hopefully, that you load into the system, it will automatically fire those off. If you tell it to do text messages, it'll automatically do text messages. It will automatically then log the information for you, saying, try to call Lisa Johnson at this time, sent this email, left this voicemail, blah, blah, blah. And then it will reschedule to call Lisa again based on the cadence that you have set in the system. So you sit down, you put on that headset, you're going to go through 100 numbers, 200 numbers, 300 numbers in no time flat. And you're going to make actual contact with all of them in some way or another, sending an email, leaving a voicemail, right? And then the people who pick up, you get your live calls. So it is ridiculously powerful and efficient. There's no reason to do cold prospecting without it. There's literally zero justification. So it is super powerful. Phone burner versus using VA inside Go HighLevel. Well, Go HighLevel has some, prospecting capabilities, of course, built into it. And it's got the phone, the phone dialer and stuff like that. It is not anywhere near designed the way Phone Burner is to do just rapid cold prospecting. It's not even close. So what I would do, Christy, is I would have my VA using Phone Burner, and then I would just have a sync between Phone Burner and using Go HighLevel, right? And that sync may be a little bit manual at first. I don't know. I've got to believe that Phone Burner is open enough to sync with Go HighLevel easily, but it may be that you have to export a spreadsheet. That's what I did for years. Just export a spreadsheet here, load it up into HighLevel to make sure you captured all the information that you want to. But that's easy enough to do. So that is what I would recommend. But if you're committing to cold prospecting, there is no reason to do it without one of those cold prospecting tools, or you are just wasting your time. Okay. Seems like certain local businesses, industries call for different prospecting outreach methods. So Jasmine hits on a good point. Anybody who comes to our boot camp this next week, our Attention Engine boot camp, I will absolutely stress this, that just like there's no magic script, there's no magic piece of content, there's no magic ad, there's no magic channel, okay? You should be trying to be in front of your prospects and reach your prospects in as many different ways with as many different messages that are relevant, of course, as you can. Now, we all have limits of our budget and our time and all that. And so, you may have to say for a period of time, I can only do X, Mike. I've only got, $5 in ads to run, and I've only got 3 hours a day. And so tell me my options. Cool. We'll go through that. But yes, as Jasmine said, certain businesses, certain industries, and then certain people and companies within those industries are going to respond to different things than others. Okay. But yes, definitely, Jasmine, certain industries have more roadblocks to certain channels than others. Okay, for sure. Again, just going back to the restaurant industry example, right? A restaurant manager can walk into a restaurant at 7 a.m. and be full sprint on the floor all day, every day until they go home at night. Now, that same manager, though, will be checking Instagram and checking their DMs on Instagram because they know how important that is to drive business in today's world, right? So calling them on the phone may be really, really difficult, but getting them in a DM on Instagram and getting them, then maybe you get their text, their SMS, number from them, and you're able to actually text them more directly that way as a second step. sending them some sort of clever direct mail can work because they're at a physical location every day, right? So I'm not talking about a postcard. I'm talking about something like, something a little more interesting, something maybe a little more personalized. That type of thing can really work. Versus direct mail like at a law firm. Okay. Law firms get 10,000 pieces of direct mail every day, and they have people whose entire jobs are to open those pieces of mail, scan those pieces of mail into an electronic system, determine which of those pieces of mail are just junk and prospecting and sales pitches and can just be thrown away without anybody having to waste their time looking at them. If somebody sends some package to a significant size law firm here these days and they don't know who it's from or why they got it or anything like that, very likely it will not even get opened. Very likely it will be determined to be a security threat and destroyed, right? So, certain businesses are definitely going to require different approaches, and that certainly deserves to be thought through in your strategy. Absolutely. And in some cases, the best you can do is test, right? In some cases, you're just not going to know until you test. I also think this is why inbound marketing is the dominant marketing practice in today's world, right? Because that same restaurant manager that you can't get a hold of, when they go home at night, they're scrolling through Instagram and TikTok and stuff like that. And so if they see an ad for whatever and they respond to it, now they have elected, right, to participate in your sales process versus getting cold prospecting done to them. So that's why it's one of the main reasons why inbound marketing works so well, because we're all so damn busy and we've created our own little silos that make it hard to get in touch with us, right? For good reason. I don't want to waste my time all day being prospected to, right? I don't want to answer the phone and talk to anybody I didn't mean to talk to. I've got shit to do, right? I'm busy. So that's the way other people feel about their time too. Okay. Using competitor to cause anxiety on prospect. Yeah. Let's see here. Let me check. I'm going to check over on moguls real quick here to see if anybody had any questions. I want to make sure to get to those. Let's see here. Any other questions you have, guys? Go ahead and fire them in. This one was left a while ago, but I don't think I answered this here. I'm 2 months now with HighLevel, my first email campaign to 18 target hot leads, proper setup, email domain, and everything went to spam. What suggestions do you have to avoid spam? And any tech advice here? Oh, maybe I did answer that last week. Yeah, so what I tell people with HighLevel, and this actually goes back to the question of should they be using HighLevel or phone burner, Christy? Anytime I'm doing cold prospecting, I would highly recommend, and I'm talking cold prospecting. We're uploading a list of 5,000 prospects, and I'm going to start just banging away on these 5,000 prospects, right? They've never heard of me. I've never heard of them, never had a conversation with them. Cold. I would avoid doing that in HighLevel at all costs. I would avoid doing that in any primary system that you plan on keeping and using long-term at all costs, unless it is a cold prospecting system specifically designed to do that. Why? Because you do not want to burn the email address and things like that coming out of HighLevel. Because when you do that, now it's impacting your entire business, right? So I would never, ever load up 1,000 people in the HighLevel that I don't know and send them an email from HighLevel. Never, ever, ever, ever. I'm potentially causing myself a world of hurt. Okay. Dan here. What's up, Dan? Good to see you. I still have no access to HLA. Any idea how we can sort this out? Dan, is this Dan Oliveira? Is that right? If that's the case, you will get it sorted out today, I'm sure. I promise. Your support ticket was yesterday, and we did respond within 2 hours. I'm saying that with a little bit of piss and vinegar because I saw your comment in Circle saying that you have to be extremely patient with our support team, and your ticket was put in yesterday and we responded in 2 hours. So I understand that we have to have some patience, and I get it, but we will get back to you, I promise. Awesome. I am aware of it, Dan, so I promise you that we will go through. I will absolutely make sure that she or I are going through those today, and this weekend I will go through them if I have to as well for anything that's not done yet, and get that taken care of. So, but yes, anybody that needs support on anything like product access, billing, any of that type of stuff, please, please, please make sure that you are emailing help@servicesatscale.com. And the reason why it's a help me help you. Believe me when I tell you that my team and I want to provide the best support possible. We really do. Okay, we are not trying to ignore anybody or delay anything at any time. We do not want that. I get so many people sending me DMs on Facebook and Instagram and things like that, asking for me to sort out some billing issue. And I mean, it's just a terrible way for things to get lost. Posting them in the Facebook group, posting them in Circle, any of that type of stuff those are absolutely not the ways to get support. And I just say that because you guys got to understand, try and understand, we get, so many messages. There's zero way for us to track all that unless it goes to help@servicesatscale.com, because that creates a ticket that we can track, right? And have stages to it, open, in research, blah, blah, right? And also it has complete visibility for everybody on my team. So anybody involved in support, including myself, we can see those open tickets, and I can go to my support team and say, hey guys, Dan has been waiting. What the heck's going on here, right? Whereas if you DM anybody directly, you DM me, my support team can't see that ever even happened. So they have no way of jumping in and helping out when I've hired them to do that, right? That's their entire job, is to jump in and help out, because I'm running around a million miles an hour all day, every day, right? So just, I believe me when I tell you guys, we want to provide the best support possible. We have no incentive to do anything otherwise, and we will get you sorted out, okay? Bright World Arts, I've started on building a community resource site to make contact with local biz. Any tips? Yeah, that's awesome. I love that model. That whether it's a media site or a directory site or whatever it is, I love it because it gives you an opportunity to add value to those businesses again, in a different way. One, you can add value in advance, and two, you can do it in a way that costs you almost nothing, right? Versus like a lot of agency services, if you want to add value in advance, it can take up a lot of your time and resources and stuff. So with the community resource, I'm not sure exactly what that community resource is, but first step is to make sure. So I've started on building a community resource site to make contact with local biz. Okay. So what I just want to challenge you is to make sure that even though your incentive, your strategy may be to use this to get in touch with local biz, that make sure that community resource site is actually valuable and adding value to the community, that it's an actual resource, okay? Because I'm sure we've all seen and we've all heard there's a bunch of people out there training, just start this so that then you can call up and do a fake interview with them and then pitch them on your services. They're not even a fake interview, you're doing an interview. But the whole point of the interview then is you're going to pitch them on your services after you've interviewed them for your podcast, right? It's not smart. It's not long-term. It's not strategic, right? The strategic move is to make sure that community resource is actually a resource. Then if it's a resource, people will all day long want to be a part of your resource, right? So whatever your community resource site is, make sure that you're putting up a bunch of good stuff up there so that people actually want to visit it and get value from it. And then you can have like a very free, cheap, easy, whatever way of maybe showcasing businesses on that site that you can then reach out to those businesses and give them that opportunity, right? So the example is like a directory site. Usually there's some basic directory listing that's free, right? And then there's upsells. So if you're getting a bunch of good traffic to this directory site, then you can reach out to the businesses and say, hey, look, we've got a free listing for you up on our site. We get 75,000 visitors every month. We'd love to showcase your business on there as well. No cost to you. Awesome. So now they're up there and you say, great, well, we have these, upsell options. If you want to include a video about your business or pictures about your business, or you want a backlink to your business or whatever, here's the price points, So that way it gives you a way of upselling as well. So that's what I would recommend. First thing, just make sure that it's valuable, that you're actually adding the value. Okay. What else? Any other questions? Let me know. While we're waiting for any other questions to come in, I will encourage you, as I did on last week's call. I want to encourage everybody, make sure you're taking a few hours each week and digging into AI, how it's impacting you, how it's impacting your business, how it could impact your customers' businesses. We're sitting on the very start line of, if you just think about the internet and how big of an impact that had and how many opportunities it created and, what opportunities maybe you missed, right? We are now sitting at the beginning of something that will be much bigger than the internet. So if you are an entrepreneur and you're not sitting around trying to figure out what's my strategy for that, at least keeping up to date on it, that's a big mistake. So I would encourage you all to do that. Jasmine says, I have a hair salon that wants to work with me and seems excited to get going. Awesome. I sent them 2 prices of $297 to have access to the software and $549 for me to have a heavy hand in it, 2 days silent. What's the follow-up? Cool. The follow-up after 2 days silent is just following up. Just nothing. It doesn't have to be anything more than following up. Hey, this is Jasmine. Just want to follow up on that proposal I sent you. See if you have any questions. If there's any that I can answer for you, just let me know. Otherwise, if you'd like to get started, let's just pick a time to hop on the calendar and get it going. Right? That's it. Okay. So just basic follow-up like that. And really the follow-up until you get a response from them of some sort, the follow-up really doesn't need to be very different from that at all, right? You don't hear from them for another few days, follow up again. You don't hear from them for another few days, follow up again. And then Mike says, send them the damn coffee cake. Exactly. And then at some point you do the takeaway, right? The takeaway sale. Just hey, it looks like this isn't a good fit for you right now. So I'm going to go ahead and just, pull a proposal off the table. If there's a better time or something different that we can do for you, please feel free to get in touch. And, wish you all the best. And we'll plan on connecting with you sometime soon. Right. So just doing that takeaway is oftentimes enough to get them to finally respond. Because oftentimes, guys, they're just not responding just because they're busy. They're just busy and they got other priorities that are more important to them at the moment than getting going on your software, even if they want to get going on your software. So sometimes that takeaway is just enough to get them to go, no, wait a minute, sorry, we've just been busy. Yeah, we're ready to get going, right? So, but your follow-up does not need to be anything more sophisticated than that here in the short term, okay? Because we don't need to assume anything about why they're not getting back. Plot twist, this is the salon I actually go to. Well, then you just march right in there and go, what is up, right? I've spent $10,000 on haircuts, with you over the last 5 years, and you can't even call me back about my $297 proposal. Johnny Thomas says, if I'm also considering a business directory site, would you recommend a general site that accepts any and all businesses, or perhaps do a niche directory for home services businesses only? I mean, home services and kind of real estate related is one of the only ones that I would consider doing a niche in a local market, because it is such a big industry. Even within a local market, there's a lot you could do with it. And I think you can make it very valuable for consumers, for them to know that that's where they go to find, good home services vendors. Um, I don't think I don't think that there's a massive advantage to you one way or the other, unless you're really going to drive that value of it just being a home services directory. So what I mean by that is, if you are really going to go deep on making it valuable for people to find home services contractors through that site, right? We've done reviews. I don't know, we vet them, whatever. Like, then it could be very valuable to people, because home services contractors, are a pain in the neck for people to find good ones and all that. So there are some sites out there that have done this already. So if you're going to go deep on it like that and really drive some differentiation in it, then I think that could be worth just focusing on a niche like that. But otherwise, if you're not really going to drive that differentiation, I'd probably just set up a general directory and just be able to have any business that's up there, and that'll help you get more traffic to it, probably, right? If it's just got more volume of stuff. So I would, it's just something to think through. You ever heard of Work to Publish by Jack Conte? No, I have not. Any other questions? Roadblocks or anything that I might be able to help you with, let me know. Otherwise, I hope to see as many of you as possible on our Attention Engine Bootcamp next week. I'm going to try and make it as simple as possible for you to get that top of funnel demand really going, that volume really going. It is the easiest way to ensure that you drive more sales. Okay. It is by far the easiest way. When we think about all of the ways that we can drive more sales, right? We can come up with the magic offer. We can come up with the magic sales pitch. We can master our script. We can, whatever. All of those things are much harder to do than just getting a lot more people in your top of funnel, right? That is typically much easier to do, is to just get as many people up here as you can that are aware of you, aware of what you do, have some sort of interest in what you do, right? When you have 1,000 people up there, it's much easier to get 3 to fall out of the bottom every month than when you have 10 up there, right? It is just numbers. But those numbers are critically important when it comes to top of funnel and its relationship to bottom of funnel. And the shocking reality is that most marketing agencies really are not doing any marketing. Intentional silence to let that sink in, right? Because it's true. Most marketing agencies have almost no actual marketing going on and no consistency in their marketing. And we've got to fix that. Okay. Been offering Go High Level as part of a complete marketing package, $4,500 to $7,500 a month. Awesome, Tim. Want to transition to offering it via the SaaS model. Best way to make the switch. I'd say best way to make the switch, Tim, is for you to look at what it is that you're doing in that 45 to 7,500 for those customers, and look for the assets that you can take out of whatever you're doing for them that you can make standardized to include in a snapshot, so that you're delivering it via technology instead of effort. Okay. Some things you're not going to be able to deliver through the automation and through the snapshot because they literally take effort, right? But let's say that there's a certain campaign that you end up using for every customer and all that stuff. It's like, okay, well, I can take that, my birthday campaign snapshot, take that birthday campaign and just make that an asset that you have all the landing pages, all the ads, all the follow-up campaigns, everything just 95% done in a snapshot. All you have to do is do some custom values updates for the next customer that comes along. And now you've got a system that's dramatically more scalable and dramatically less effort. But it is additional value on top of the software, and that's critical, right? Don't want to just sell the software. You want to sell a system, which a system includes the software, marketing assets, services, things like that. So I would go through, Tim, if you're charging $5,000 to $7,500 a month or whatever it is, you've obviously got some good skills and experience. What is it in that you are doing for those customers that you could take, standardize, put them into a snapshot? That means you're going to cut a lot of stuff away. There's going to be a lot of stuff that you're not going to do. But put it in there in that package so that when you make your pitch is still about that overall value proposition that you're driving beyond just tools. Okay. So as an example, just to illustrate a little bit more, Sam's selling to restaurants, and I can now make the pitch. Let's do two pitches. If I was just selling software, high-level software, I would say to that restaurant, hey, look, you can automate a whole bunch of the marketing functions of your business using this awesome software that's all completely integrated so everything talks to each other. And that restaurant could go, man, that's awesome. That looks like super cool software. Great. Now what the hell do I do with it? Right? I mean, I'm not a marketer, and I don't have time to sit down and learn marketing and learn the software and do something with it. Okay. Versus if I go to that same restaurant and I say, hey, I've got the super duper restaurant growth system I can put in place for you. And it takes advantage of this incredible suite of tools to automate all these functions. And it's all completely integrated. And that's critical because there's other guys out there charging you $4,500 to $7,500 a month to accomplish essentially the same thing because they're not using all this automation and tools. We take advantage of all these automations and tools, but we have also built on top of those automations and tools these 7 proven restaurant growth marketing campaigns that are all built in there, tested, ready to go, that we can just turn on for you. And with a little bit of management and guidance each month to help you out, we can make sure that you're now consistently doing growth marketing at your restaurant for only $497 a month compared to that $4,500 to $7,500 the agencies are charging you. Okay. So my pitch is now a much more complete pitch to that restaurant. You don't have to learn how to be a marketer. You don't have to learn how to build a bunch of campaigns and test a bunch of campaigns to put on top of this software. We've already done all that for you. So you're getting these incredible tools, but you're also getting our restaurant growth system built on those tools. Okay. So that's what you're trying to get to, Tim. That's the transition. Okay. And then to some degree or another, you're going to also have to sell yourself to get off of the drug of the $7,500 a month customer, right? Because that $7,500, when you're sitting there and you're selling somebody and you're going, ooh, I could sell somebody $7,500, I could sell them $497. Why do I want to sell them $7,500? The reason why you don't want to sell them the $7,500, you probably already know, which is why you're trying to make the switch, is, one, you have to put in a lot more work to keep them happy. 2, they probably churn much shorter, all kinds of stuff. So you got to sell yourself on, okay, I'm going to have to maybe step back a little bit here in these first 6 months, but that recurring revenue is now going to pile up and be much more attractive in the long run. Paul, any prep you can do for the bootcamp? Great question. I will send out some communication on that this weekend, so please just keep an eye out for that, okay? Lisa Johnson, Attention Engine is in the calendar inside of Circle, and it will be, let's see here, I think it's Tuesday, Wednesday of next week. Yes, Tuesday, Wednesday next week, 1 p.m. Pacific time, both days. Tuesday, Wednesday next week, 1 p.m. Pacific time, both days. Okay. Would you please provide the details of your Attention Engine Bootcamp? Yeah. So there you go. So Tuesday, Wednesday next week, 1 p.m. Pacific time. Everything will be recorded. You'll have access to all the resources. You're going to have 30 days access to a private community, so you can ask any questions, anything like that. But the live calls Tuesday, Wednesday next week, 1 p.m. Pacific time. Okay. Pretty sure that's old cobbler's kids have no shoes. Yeah, it's the marketing agency's not marketing. Yes, exactly. Awesome, Tim. What is the roadmap from SaaS marketer to marketing consultant to be able to command those higher prices? I ultimately want to get to consultancy. Thoughts? Jasmine, I have no idea why you would want to get consultancy. That's my thought. My thought is, why in the world would you want to do consulting if you have a model that is just bringing in low ticket recurring revenue that sticks for years every month? It's just a much more enjoyable business model and life. Now, I'm biased. Consulting can be awesome. You know, you get those rare clients that really want to pay you what you're worth, and they implement what you tell them to implement, and it all feels good. My experience is that is rare, but it can be awesome when it happens. And so, Jasmine, the best consulting model, okay, in this space, dealing with smaller businesses and trying to find the businesses that command higher prices, all that stuff, or that can pay those higher prices for you, is to think about it as a pyramid. Okay, you want your base of your pyramid to be so broad and strong that that very top of the pyramid is just a cherry on top. Okay, so if Mike Cooch has $100,000 a month in recurring revenue coming in, right? Automated recurring revenue coming in every month. And then I go, yeah, I wouldn't mind taking on a little consulting project if it's the right price, if it's the right people, if it's, whatever, right? And I publish out to my community, hey, I'll do consulting with one company this quarter, but it's going to be expensive. It's going to be my rules, my way, only the right customer, yada, yada. You've got to apply to qualify, right? That's a Frank Kern. Frank Kern does this. It's like every couple of years, it seems like he needs a bunch of cash or something. And so he does this. It's like I said, it's like every couple of years. So I think that's the reason why he does it. Is he sends out his famous, like, I'm gonna have a mastermind at my house, and it's only gonna be for 10 people, and it's only gonna be, you have to apply to qualify and all that stuff, and it's only $50,000 for the day, and I'm gonna pick you up in my Rolls Royce at the airport, and people get all Frank Kern excited, because Frank Kern is the ultimate guru, and they spend $50,000 for their one day with Frank Kern. And he makes $500,000 in a day. Genius, right? But Frank Kern can do that because the base of the pyramid is so broad and strong that somewhere in that audience is 10 people that will drop 50 grand to go hang out with Frank Kern for the day, right? That cherry on top. It's a numbers game, and it's a positioning game, right? Because he's got this position of, hey, I don't need the money. I don't need to do this, even if it's not true, And I'm not saying Frank Kern, I'm razzing him a little bit here. But whoever it is, that is making that pitch every once in a while, right? It's positioning. It's positioning. They have such a big, broad base that they can do that. But the best business model to do that is when you actually do have that broad base, because you've got all of the revenue coming in to give you the opportunity to make really good choices about who you work with and what you'll charge. Versus if you are selling that higher ticket consulting, this goes back to our previous conversation, Jasmine, just don't sell to small businesses, okay? One of my very best friends built up a $12 million a year consulting business and sold it. Did very, very well. Hated his life while he was running that business. so damn stressful, so damn awful. It was awful. I used to just watch him run his business and just be like, God, your life sucks. It was terrible. And here I was petering along with my business, charging my customers $397 a month, and had a great life because we were doing millions of dollars in recurring revenue, $397 a pop. If a customer leaves today, that's okay. It's going to be all right. We're going to get 3 new ones today, right? So when you're selling consulting like that, and that's your entire business model, when somebody cancels their agreement, it hurts. It hurts, right? Really bad. So, but he would sell to bigger businesses. He would sell to Fortune 1000. And so, I would always laugh because these big businesses would hire him for some strategy consulting project, right? And he would charge them $400,000 for a 1-month strategy consulting project, or a 1-quarter strategy consulting project or whatever, $400,000. And then he would go hire a bunch of college kids and they would be doing 90% of the work, right? Do a bunch of research, put together a bunch of pretty PowerPoints and all this stuff. It's just like, man, what a racket. But it would suck because then selling that next $400,000 project didn't come through, and he had all those people on his team that either had to cover their payroll or lay them off. It was brutal. So it was a very high stress business. I would not wish it on anybody. Looking on Facebook for Circle Group. Can you send a link? Lisa, are you, tell me a little bit about you. Are you a customer of HighLevel through me? Are you signed up for Moguls? What are you currently a part of? Because Circle is my customers community. And so that's, Facebook is like my public community. Circle is my customers community. Yes, if you purchased one of my products, it is inside of the membership area of that product, like in the welcome section up top. It'll have a link to join Circle, join our community in there. So yeah, it's in there. But if you have any problems, Lisa, and you are a customer and you're like, Mike, I just can't figure out how to get in Circle, email help@servicesatscale.com. Okay, we'll get you taken care of. Okay. Brady says, I was burnt out consulting, but if I knew what I know now, I'd make some different choices and include a software option in the base. Yes, absolutely. That is the best combo in the world. Daniel, I see you back there, sir. Would you like to come on camera and have a chat? I can't hear you. Give me a wave if you want to come on camera, or if you're just like, no, I'm just hanging out back here. You do want to come on camera? No, okay. Awesome. He's just watching. All right, let's see here. Virtual V. I know this is kind of generic, but what do you think about partnerships? Would you partner with somebody, and under what conditions? 50-50, less or more? This is a great question. Super, super important question, because lots of people get into partnership situations. Okay. I am very, very, very careful and hesitant to partner. And so let me give you, I did this rant just a few months ago, I think, on one of these calls, but I think this is super important. First of all, I never use the word partner. Partner has like this emotional context to it, right? My partner, my life partner, my husband, my wife, whatever type of thing. When you go into business with somebody, you're not marrying anybody. It's a business deal. Okay. And there shouldn't be this like, we're this emotional connection. Okay. So when you think about a business, okay, if I'm starting a business with Lisa today, okay, there are shareholders in businesses, there are investors in businesses, and there are employees in businesses. You can be all three. You can be an investor, right? So that you own shares in that business. And I'm sorry, investors, employees. So investors, shareholders, employees, and then external investors, right? So a founder, shareholder, an external investor, shareholder, and employee. Okay. So you could be somebody who invests cash into the business. You could be somebody who earns equity in the business through work because they're not investing cash. You could be somebody who's just employed at the business, right? Um, all of those things can happen like independently of each other, and they can stop and start. So if I start a business with somebody, what of those things are they going to do? Are they going to be an employee of the business and work on the business and get paid? Are they going to be an employee of the business but work for equity compensation? Are they going to invest cash in the business? Right? These are all business transactions. It's not an emotional, we're getting together because we're buddies and we're just going to stay buddies for life. And I'm always going to be a part of your business because we're friends, right? What are you going to do for the company? What is your role going to be? Do you have experience in that? What happens if you're not performing well at that role? Well, the company's going to fire you because that's what we do to employees. Again, we don't have like any marriage here. So, would I partner with somebody? I would bring another person into a business for all kinds of reasons. Do they have skills that I need that I don't have? Do they have connections and resources that I need and I don't have? Then sure, bring those people into the business. But you're not bringing them in as a partner typically, right? And again, there are business structures that are partnerships, but that's typically not what we're looking to do here. You should bring them in a specific function, and that function has a title and a pay scale and and all that, right? So if I bring somebody in to be my head of sales, well, heads of sales get paid this much money in the marketplace, right? Here's how they're compensated, all that type of stuff. Here's what they're expected to do. So if I can't pay them that money, well, then they're going to have to get paid in equity, right? Because I don't have the cash to pay them that. And so that may be part of the deal is, hey, so long as you're working here and you are performing this role and we can't pay you in salary, then we'll pay you in equity. But the goal is to eventually get to the point where we can pay you in cash, right? So like just treating those things like an actual business deal rather than, again, this emotional, like we're going to be partners, and it's 50-50. 50-50 is almost always just a completely terrible idea, total disaster. Again, it's not recognizing the fact that there are different roles and those roles have different values, right? So in almost no case are you and your partner just bringing the exact same value to the table, right? It's somebody's doing something. I am the CEO. I am the founder and CEO and the person with the idea for this business or whatever. And you are the head of sales. Okay? Two different equity positions, two different compensation positions, all that type of stuff, and two different expectations in terms of what they're going to do every day. All of it is different. So treating it like a business relationship. And then I would just say the most important thing beyond that is to make sure that you have a way of getting out of it. In most cases, these things do not work out. And so how are you going to get out of it when somebody wants out or somebody needs to be kicked out, right? You better have all of that predetermined, because at the point where you're trying to kick somebody out or somebody's upset and wants to get out, it usually gets ugly and ends up in lawsuits and all that type of stuff, right? So you want to make sure that all of that is predetermined in advance, on here's how we get somebody out of this business. And like, just treat it like a actual business deal, not anything emotional. I would never do there is zero case where I would do a 50-50 deal. And that's not just because I'm being greedy. It's just because it's not smart. A business needs to have somebody who makes decisions and has ultimate authority to move things forward. So even if I was going into a deal and I really wanted it to get done and it was 50-50, I I would give the other person 5. I would say, look, 55, 45, I'll take the 45. Because you can't run a business that is this whole 50-50 thing. That's a big mistake. Now, there's 50-50 equity, and then there's 50-50 control. Control and equity don't always have to go together. So I can say, hey, you got 50% of equity, I've got 50% of equity, but there's 3 total voting shares on any major decision, and I have 2 of them. So look, you're going to get just as much money as I do if this thing works out, because it's 50-50 equity. But it's still, I'm in control. So I get 2 voting shares, you get 1. So I have control, right? So you can do it that way as well. So separating equity and control are 2 very important. It's a super important consideration, because those don't have to go together. Okay, but usually when people say 50-50, what they mean is we're in it together and we make all the decisions together, all the important stuff. We have an equal say. That's just a terrible disaster in almost every scenario. I've only known 1 case where that actually worked out, where the 2 people I knew built a real good sized business. It's a super valuable business today, but even still, at about year 4, one of the guys got kicked out of the business and is no longer a part of it, because it just doesn't work out. Somebody's got to be in charge, and people have different visions and want to make different decisions, and it just ends up being a mess. The emails that you send for services at scale, those are through Go HighLevel now. Yep, Rob. Yeah, cool. Sounds like you're on the right track. Awesome. All right, it is after 12:30 here, gang. I've got to run. Thank you so much for coming to office hours. I hope you got some good value out of it. I appreciate you being a part of the community and coming on here and spending some time on your Friday with me. And we have the office hours calls every Friday, typically at the same time, same place. So I hope to see you on a future one. And in between now and then, the best place to post any questions, get any feedback and stuff like that are in the communities, unless they are like support related questions, billing, product access. Do that at help@services.scale.com or help@leverage.com, and our support team will help you out there. Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, everybody. Thanks, Daniel. Have a good one. You guys take care. Have a great weekend, and I hope to see you at the bootcamp next week, and I hope to see you on future office hours calls. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.